Those case, people versus Larry Lee.
Your Honor, Mary Tanha, Assistant Prosecuting Attorney, about the people.
And Mary Rubio, on behalf of Mr. Lee, I am standing in for the attorney of record, David Burgess, with Mr. Lee's consent, to my knowledge. Is that correct, sir? That is okay for me to stand in for you right now?
Yes.
Okay. Could you please state your name?
Literally.
What is that noise?
Shouldn't you check? I don't feel safe. Why are you just pointing? What?
Don't stop at some.
It'll stop at some point.
I feel very safe, Your Honor.
Oh, I know. He's like, you are all over it. Yes. All right, go ahead. What are we doing?
Well, Your Honor, a few things. First of all, I've been in communication with Mr. Burgess and Mr. Arabo, who is representing the victim of the case, Mr. Quasny. Apparently, Mr. Lee called Mr. Arabo and offered to, in exchange, there's a pending case where Mr. Quasny is the defendant of an AMD against Mr. Lee. Mr. Lee contacted Mr. Arabo and offered to essentially not testify in that case if Mr. Quasny agreed not to testify in this case. There are statements that are essentially saying, in exchange for Mr. Quasny, victim in this case, not testifying, I will also not testify. That is highly concerning, of course. I was given this information yesterday. I asked Mr. Arabo to forward that call to myself, Mr. Burgess, and the officer in charge because we want to document it for potential additional charges. But this all happened. Transpired yesterday. We got the recording as of this morning. With that said, of course, I think it's appropriate to have an adjournment. Mr. Burgess agrees with that.
But does that recording indicate that?
Yes, Your Honor. Have either one of you listened?
I myself have not listened to the recording. I was just asked to stand in on behalf of Mr. Burgess. He's at a hearing in Lansing. However, I did speak to Mr. Lee about it today. Mr. Lee indicates he indicated some of the content of the conversation to me. He also indicated, just FYI, that he himself recorded it.
But just so that I have this right, the defendant, because of something else, is urging, enticing, or in some other way interfering with testimony of witnesses in this case.
I can't agree to that characterization because I haven't heard it. I don't know.
Well, you want to listen to, because that's what I'm being told.
But yes, I understand. I understand that is what's being presented. I also want to indicate that. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Mr. Lee has indicated to me some things. I have advised him to be careful of what he would want to say to Your Honor, but he seems to feel that he needed to make that phone call because he wants to move to have Mr. Burgess removed and he wants to get a different attorney. Mr. Lee has indicated to me he also wants to address the court. I again did advise him I would not go into the content of that conversation as there could be potential pending new charges. With that said, Mr. Lee, what is it you wanted to say?
Yes, Judge. I indicated to, what's her name?
Mary Rubio, Ms. Rubio.
To Ms. Rubio that for a little bit over a month, I contacted my attorney, Mr. Burgess, and I instructed him to contact the lawyers from both sides, the prosecution and the other side that represented Mr. Quasny, and I instructed him to offer a plea or to negotiate some sort of settlement, and he indicated that he would do that. He indicated that he had done that. He indicated that he had reached out to Mr. Arabo and the prosecutor regarding making some sort of plea agreement. Him and I discussed what that could be. And so now, fast forward, yesterday, I contacted Mr. Burgess and I said, hey, have you reached out or have you heard anything from Mr. Arabo and the prosecutor? He said, and he indicated that he had not heard anything and that he had reached out to both attorneys multiple times. I knew that to be a lie. I suspected that to be a lie. And I knew that if I were to have him or to ask you to have him removed or substituted, that I would have to prove under Strickland versus Washington that he.
I don't know. Are you a lawyer?
I was.
Mr. Lee, no. To my knowledge, no.
So I knew that I had to prove that he was ineffective. I knew that I had to prove that our breakdown was egregious. So I recorded the call myself. And I called Mr. Arabo and I asked if Mr. Burgess reached out and discussed any sort of plea negotiations. Mr. Arabo said, no, sir. He had not had any communications with my attorney. So I confirmed with Mr. Arabo that he had not received any communications about any kind of negotiations with any kind of plea agreements on my behalf.
I'm so sorry to interrupt Mr. Lee before he makes more statements.
And I did record the.
And our calls to this.
I recorded the call.
Criminalizing himself.
I recorded the call.
In his best interest, he might want to listen to this call before he makes any further statements. In the call that was sent to us, there is indication there's no discussion of a plea. Not what was sent to me. That was recorded by Mr. Arabo. There's very clear that there will be no testimony in his case if Mr. Consley agrees not to testify in this case.
So I have the text messages.
Further false statements are made to the court, which is not necessarily a problem for me, but I want to make sure that Mr. Lee's rights are preserved.
I have the text messages.
I want to listen.
You don't know what? That's the third time you've done it. You're gone. Mr. Allen, take him. You better get Mr. Burgess down here because I want to hear those calls because if he's interfered with it, that's going to be a whole other issue.
I will try to reach him, but I know he is in Lansing, so I'm not certain.
Well, even if he appears, right? Has Mr. Burgess heard the calls?
I don't know, Your Honor. They were sent this morning. I asked Mr. Arabo to send them right away yesterday, and we received them this morning. Mr. Arabo can also be available via Zoom if necessary.
All right.
Okay.
I'm just letting you know that what I'm hearing is extremely disturbing.
I completely understand that.
And so I'm gonna give an opportunity for the defense to give me some explanation, but I'm inclined at this point, I'm gonna hold him in custody. I'm inclined at this point to revoke his bond.
I understand.
Okay.
Okay.
What we just witnessed in this courtroom wasn't just another hearing. It was a complete unraveling of control, credibility, and courtroom decorum. The defendant, Larry Lee, managed to turn what should have been a routine procedural check-in into a tangled web of self-incrimination, legal chaos, and a potential new criminal charge. Let's break down exactly what happened here. At the heart of this case, we see Larry Lee attempting to defend himself, or rather, over-defend himself, by explaining his communication with the victim's attorney. On the surface, he frames it as a desperate attempt to prove that his own attorney wasn't representing him properly. But beneath that explanation lies a far more serious issue, a potential act of witness tampering. When Lee contacted the opposing side to propose a kind of mutual silence, "You don't testify against me. I won't testify against you," he stepped directly into legally dangerous territory. That's not negotiation. That's interference. And in any courtroom, that's the kind of move that makes a judge's jaw tighten. The prosecution made it clear. The phone call between Lee and the victim's representative wasn't about plea deals. It was about manipulating testimony, a massive red flag under criminal procedure. And when the prosecutor said, "We want it documented for potential additional charges," that wasn't just a warning. That was the sound of the legal clock starting to tick on a new investigation. Then came the turning point. Judge's patience thinned as Lee tried to justify his actions, claiming he was only verifying his attorney's competence. But when the judge heard that the call, allegedly recorded by both sides, suggested a quid pro quo exchange of silence, everything changed. You could see the courtroom shift. Suddenly, this wasn't about poor representation. It was about obstruction of justice. The moment the judge said, "I'm inclined to revoke his bond," the entire tone of the hearing flipped. That's a rare and serious statement. Bond revocation means the court no longer believes the defendant can be trusted outside custody, often due to perceived manipulation, threats, or dishonesty during the legal process. And in this case, Lee practically walked himself into that outcome through his own words. Let's pause for a second and think about this. If you were facing criminal charges, would you ever personally reach out to the other party involved? Most attorneys would say absolutely not. It's a line you never cross. The courtroom is built on procedure, and when a defendant decides to take that into their own hands, especially in a way that could influence testimony, it undermines the very foundation of justice. But beyond the legal danger, there's a human element here too. Lee appears frustrated, maybe even betrayed by his lawyer. He's trying to take control of his case, but in doing so, he's violating every rule meant to protect him. It's a tragic irony, trying to fix a perceived injustice, but instead, digging himself into deeper legal jeopardy. When the judge ordered Lee into custody, it was both a punishment and a protection, a way to prevent further interference while the court assesses the damage. This case isn't over, not by a long shot. Once the court reviews the recording, Lee could face additional felony charges for witness tampering or obstruction, and if proven, those could carry more weight than his original offense. So, what do you think? Was Larry Lee simply desperate to get fair representation, or did he knowingly cross the line? Do you believe the judge was right to revoke his bond after hearing about the recorded call? Let us know your thoughts below, because this case raises serious questions about where frustration ends and criminal interference begins. If you found this courtroom exchange as shocking as we did, make sure to hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more jaw-dropping courtroom breakdowns just like this one. We cover the real cases, the real reactions, and the real moments when justice takes a dramatic turn. Right here, where every word matters.